Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Sarah. Sarah is the name. Breaking generational curses is the game. You've been here before. Welcome back. This is your first time with me. Hello, my name is Sarah. I'm a traditional healer. I am a plant spirit medicine person. I've studied with the Oklahoma Native American Church as well as Sacred Wisdom Circle Institute. I specialize in the plant spirit medicine known as Wachuma, also known as San Pedro. I'm also a Reiki practitioner, and I help people break from generational curses and help them create a life worth living. So today I'm going to be expounding upon my key number 3, feminine and masculine energies. My last video was about these energies, masculine and feminine, or omega and alpha, and it was to help you shift into your own alpha or masculine energies to attract a better partner, an omega dominant or a feminine dominant partner, whether they be female or male. Omega dominant or feminine dominant people are just better people all around, in my opinion. I just think that they make better partners, they make better friends, they make better coworkers because they are focused on the other people in their lives, the connections. So this video will kind of be a refresher on that, but it's more about being able to discern and identify which polarity you're dealing with. We all have both polarities, but most of us operate in one or the other, or more dominant in one or the other. Okay, and I'm probably going to be making more videos about shifting into your alpha or shifting into your, or strengthening your masculine dominant energy, also known as yang energy. So this is a few of these slides I'm going to say are from refreshers from my last video, but then we'll get into, we're going to play a game. We're going to play a game in this video. So the second half of the video, I'm going to be asking you, what do you think? Is this an alpha person, or is this a omega person, or is this a masculine dominant person, or a feminine dominant person? When I was learning about the polarities, Spirit was always teaching me about the polarities and helping me identify which polarity I was dealing with. It was super helpful on my journey of healing. All right. So the law of polarity is the principle that everything has two poles, good and evil, love and hate, attraction and disconnection. Think of the north and south poles on a globe or a battery with its negative and positive terminals. Everything in the universe has an opposite. So hopefully you pause that and read that. It's the law of polarity. Then also the law of magnetism. The law of magnetism is that the law of magnetism is that like poles repel one another. So if these poles were the same, they would repel. And unlike poles attract one another. Okay? So the law of polarity and the law of magnetism. All magnets have north and south poles. Opposite poles are attracted to each other, while the same poles repel each other. That's what I just said. And like I said earlier, we all possess alpha and omega polarities. We all have access to both our masculine and feminine polarities, but we all have one of these polarities that is dominant. And this was undoing CPTSD was, well, you can see it okay. Oh gosh, hold on. Undoing CPTSD, the pattern that I was in was one of the ways I healed from borderline personality disorder or bipolar disorder. I had CPTSD, but besides breaking that, resetting the neural pathways in the brain, another big way of how I healed and created a life worth living and attracted my soulmate is to strengthen my weaker or non-dominant polarity. That'll really, a lot of people are polarized. That's really what a big part of mental illness is. They're polarized in their energies. And when you strengthen your undeveloped or non-dominant polarity, you just get healthier. And that was my experience when I activated and strengthened my masculine polarities. I just became more sure of myself and healthier, and I attracted a better partner, my husband, Charles. So yeah, here we're just going to go over the polarities. So there's masculine, yang, or alpha. These people who are dominant in this polarity are self-focused. They're focused on themselves or things. Think of like cars or makeup, or clothes, or status symbols, stuff like that, like properties they own or whatever. So they're focused on themselves or things, possessions. They're ruled or governed by the self-defense or self-preservation principle. And these people take no shit. If I could encapsulate this energy, it's not taking any shit. It's not putting up with any shit. And I've definitely noticed that in myself. I don't tolerate any shit anymore. And as soon as the shit comes around, I'm out of there. I'm gone. Because I don't put up with shit. And neither should you. So the feminine or the yin or the omega are other focused. They're focused on other people, connections, relationship, friends, family, people in their lives. They're ruled by the non-aggression principle or the nurturing principle. The nurturing principle, like I eliminated nurture. And they do no harm. If you could encapsulate this energy, it's do no harm. Alright, hopefully you can read that. So the universe is always seeking balance via the law of polarity. This is why we fall in love or find ourselves drawn to alpha or masculine partners, because it's the law of polarity. It's the law of magnetism. It just, you fall in love, you're just naturally aligned with that person, because it's the universe is always seeking balance via the law of polarity and the law of magnetism. When we shift into and strengthen our weaker or non-dominant polarity, which is for most of us, it's our alpha or yang or masculine polarity, we will naturally be drawn to better partners. Or another way of saying that, we'll be naturally drawn to omega or feminine dominant or yin dominant partners who are focused on other people. That's why they make better partners. So here's the game. Yay, we made it to the game. All right. All right. So I'm going to show up a bunch of slides and you guess. Is this an alpha person? Or is this a omega person? Or is this a masculine or feminine? Again, we all don't have both masculine and feminine, but we all have one. We are more dominant, or more, it's more of our style to communicate and navigate through the world with either one polarity or the other. So the first one, giving, warm, other focused. You should get this one right away. That's right, it's omega, or feminine dominant people, where you're in the presence of this person. They're giving, they're generous, they're warm, you feel seen, you feel heard. It's because they're omega or feminine dominant. They're focused on other people. Creative. Which one do you think is more better at being creative? That's right, omega, feminine dominant people. Oh, I wonder if I, oh shoot, I wonder if I, well, whatever. I think I put them in categories. Too hard on themselves. Who do you think that is? The masculine or the feminine? It's the feminine. It's the omega dominant people in your life. They are often way too hard on themselves. They take everything upon themselves. They think everything's their fault. And that's classic symptom of an omega or a feminine dominant polarity person. Okay, I guess I did it right. Yay! All right, get away with wrongdoing. Who do you think that is? They do something wrong, they often get away with it. That's right, alpha, masculine or yang dominant polarity people, they often can do all sorts of stuff and not be held accountable. because it takes a really strong person to hold these people accountable to the things they've done wrong. And a lot of people are just cowards, so a lot of times the alpha or the omega person, if you have a coworker or a friend, like, well, how can they get away with it? It might be because they're alpha or masculine dominant polarity people. They just tend to get away with more. Whereas omega and feminine dominant people, we can't get away with anything, it seems, at least in my experience. All right, custody of child or children. Who do you think that person is if they have custody of the children? Is that person omega or masculine? That's right, they're omega. My father had custody of my brother and I because he is more feminine dominant. He's more of the caretaker or the nurturer between my mother and father. So if you're wondering, I wonder if they're masculine or feminine, this person I'm seeing or dating, do they have custody of their children? If they don't, if they're not the main custodial parent, chances are they're an alpha, because the alpha parent typically does not get custodial parentship, or they don't have custody of their children in most cases. Unsure of themselves. Who do you think that is? That's right, I kind of touched on that earlier. Feminine dominant people or omega dominant polarity people are often unsure of themselves. They're not really confident of their actions. They doubt themselves often, the omega. And here's one, lazy or workaholic. It's two extremes. Is an alpha or an omega lazy or workaholic? It's alpha. It's masculine dominant polarity people. I'll give an example of my stepmother and my biological mother. They're both masculine or alpha dominant people. And my mother was my biological mother, she's extremely lazy. She really didn't get up to do anything. Whereas my stepmother, who is also masculine dominant, she's just a workaholic. She can't really sit still. She's always working on something. You'll hardly ever see her sitting down. Another one, imposter syndrome. Who do you think suffers more from imposter syndrome? The feminine. That's right, the omega. And who's the imposter? Masculine dominant people. You might be thinking, well, Sarah, you're just these masculine people. You're just describing a narcissist, really. And that is kind of right. If someone has narcissistic personality disorder, they are dominant in that polarity. Whether they be a full-blown narcissist, I'm not sure, but they're somewhere on the spectrum more than an omega person, if that makes any sense. If you have any questions, definitely reach out and email me, or you can comment below and I'll try to answer your question. Agitated. Which one of these people are frequently agitated or in a bad mood? That's right, it's the alpha. It's the alpha or the masculine dominant person. They're often, I've observed these people are often frustrated and short with you. So if you're wondering what you're dealing with, it probably is an alpha person if they're frequently agitated. And say you're looking at a couple and you're like, I wonder which one's the masculine or which one's the feminine. Whoever says that they struggle with bipolar and depression, the one who is honest and open about it, is usually the feminine. Don't get me wrong, the alpha or the masculine dominant person still has depression and bipolar disorder too, but they won't be upfront about it. They won't be honest about it. So that's one way you could tell. What about gullible or naive? It's an omega person. Omega people or feminine dominant people are often very gullible and open. They believe stuff right away, usually, it seems like. And I used to be so gullible. I probably still am in some ways, but I'm way more skeptical now. I'm way more skeptical. This is the alpha or the masculine dominant person. They're often so skeptical. In fact, they're so skeptical. If you show them a video of them doing something wrong, they'd be like, oh, that's not me. I don't believe it. It's like, well, that's your shirt, that's your clothes, that's your hair. They're like, no, I don't believe it. Who communicates? This is more specialized to text messaging and short succinct messages. That's right, the alpha or the masculine. Not initially. Initially, they may talk and be very communicative and give you long messages. That's usually when they're trying to love bomb you or idealize you. But as you go on with your relationship or communication, usually the longer you get to know them, the shorter and succinct their messages get. I can tell who the feminine or the masculine person is through text messages, seeing who writes more, who communicates more. The feminine or the omega dominant person will have more to say consistently. They communicate more. And that's why they make better partners. Okay. Oh yeah, so I just said that lengthy text messages. Yeah, that's the omega or feminine. They express themselves to the point where they overshare. Yeah, this is the feminine or the omega dominant or the yin dominant person. They overshare. They give too much. It's kind of the theme. They give too much. They say too much. They overshare. And this is fascinating here, what I'm gonna get into. This is not all these things are not 100% all the time. But in general, a feminine or omega dominant person, favorite color will be blue. Not always, but usually it'll be blue. And the masculine favorite color, not always, but you could ask them, what's your favorite color? And they say red. You're probably dealing with a masculine or an alpha. So our favorite colors are more than just our favorite colors. It's actually usually, not always, but usually it's the color of our soul, of our aura, of the vibration we radiate on. And blue light has a shorter, the car's loud, sorry. Blue light has a shorter wavelength compared to red light. I'll say that again. Blue light has a shorter and faster wavelength compared to red light. Blue light wavelengths typically fall between 450 and 495 nanometers, and red light typically falls between 620 and 750 nanometers, shorter wavelength. Blue light carry more energy than red. And what I'm trying to say is, because the blue or the omega, it's like a faster frequency, they're able to receive more. Whereas an alpha or a masculine person, they're usually red, which is like the base chakra or the survival chakra, and they're lower and slower. They're not able, their soul frequency doesn't vibrate very quickly. So they're I hate to say it, but they're kind of dense. They're kind of slow to things because they vibrate on a slower frequency or a lower frequency. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, of course, like I said, email me or write a comment down below. And I just want to end on, say you're dating somebody or interested in somebody, and you're like, oh yeah, they're feminine, they're omega dominant, this is great, this could work out, we could have a relationship. It has to be the right omega. Just because a person is an omega or a feminine dominant person doesn't automatically make them a good partner for you. It has to be the right specific omega. I knew years ago I wanted to be with an omega partner or a feminine dominant partner, and there's a few people along the way that I thought it would work out, but it didn't. It has to be the right omega. So just because they're an omega doesn't mean necessarily that they're going to be your partner in life. It has to be the right omega for you. So hopefully that was helpful and enlightening. I do plan to make more videos about strengthening our non-dominant polarity or shifting into our alpha or masculine polarities, because most people who watch these videos are omega or feminine dominant people, and showing you how to do that or how I did that and how it helps you live a more fulfilled life. So I'm gonna leave you now for now. I'm planning to upload more regularly. Oh, I wanted to say happy spring. It's the first day of spring. Happy spring, yay. It's kind of cold this morning in Western New York. That's where I live now, in Western New York. But I hope you have a wonderful spring. Yeah, if you want to reach out to me, I do soul coaching and Reiki, remote Reiki sessions. If you're interested in that, I'm going to put my email down below, just send me an email and we'll get started with that. Much love. Thank you so much for watching, and you'll be seeing more of me soon. Bye for now.